I believe you to be the biggest fan favorite on this team. River Cracraft. Am I wrong about this? Am I wrong? He is your biggest fan right there, sitting uncomfortably next to you.
No, River, we asked him for a list of players he wanted to have on today, and he gave us a list that just had your name.
That's right.
You're a deep sleeper for me this year in fantasy, by the way. I'm taking you in the 16th round every league. No one's taking you. You know that, right? That should offend you.
I love it. I love it. It fuels it. I appreciate that.
Do you feel like a fan favorite, though? Because you know this. I don't know whether you're able to walk the streets of Miami anonymously because you guys wear a helmet. Are you able to do that too? Are you able, or do you find yourself running into a lot of people like this guy that you make feel good because of what you do on Sundays?
I think I look like your average American, so I don't get questioned walking down the street.
I would have thought you competed in surfing at the Olympics, honestly.
Most people think I'm a baseball player if I tell them I'm in sports or something. So
there are a couple of Dolphins who have funny stories on that front. Wes Welker, one time, they thought he was, he was with a neighbor who wouldn't believe that he was a Dolphin football player, and then looked at him and said, "No wonder we were 1-15 last year when they saw him." And Zach Thomas, they handed him one time their valet keys outside of a restaurant because they thought he was the valet. This is all happening just because you're white, correct?
Just
I don't know
saying.
about all that. Yeah. I do have a great story for you, though. When I was with the Denver Broncos, they had these events that you would go to, and you'd wear your jersey, and you'd go and you'd be there for people. And I was in my own jersey, and people would come up to me thinking I was a fan. And I'd be like, "No, look, I was like, no, I'm a player." And I had this one family come up to me and look at me and ask me if I was a player. I said yes, and they were like, "Nah, you're not a player," and they just walked away. It's like, all right.
But you've arrived at your dreams, right? I don't know what your expectations were in, say, high school, but you've arrived at them, correct? You've arrived at the place that it's not just making the league and being someone who's productive in the league feels like a success, does it not?
It's part of the journey. It's not the ultimate goal, but it is part of the journey. Yeah.
Couple Pro Bowls. What are we looking for here? What's the goal? What's the end game, Spence?
I keep the end game to myself. I've never told anybody.
That a boy.
Wow.
Right.
I mean, you think it's a Super Bowl,
Keep us
but now
guessing.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
So forgive me. So I've underestimated you in the question. You've dreamt bigger than this.
I believe so. Yeah. I have my own dreams and aspirations, and I'll keep those to myself. And
Wow.
I know when I hit milestones, and this is a milestone for me. But yeah, it's not the ultimate goal.
How did the name, forgive the ignorance of this question, the name River is not your actual name, right? What is your given birth name?
Or are you going to keep that secret too?
Now, my legal name is Tanner Clyde Cracraft.
Mouthful.
Yeah. Clyde being after my grandfather, family name. Tanner, though, was after the Bad News Bears Tanner character. That's apparently where they got that name. But River being from River Phoenix, and there's a whole other story that my mom would laugh at me for not telling. But they started calling me River when I was, I think, 6 weeks old. And then my parents just never legally changed it. So my ID, all that stuff, everything's Tanner. But no one's ever called me Tanner before. I've always been River. So
Not even mom, huh?
No. I mean, like I said, at 6 weeks old, they started calling me River.
What about when you do something wrong?
Right.
Tanner.
That's
Tanner.
River. River. So most people call me Riv. So
Okay.
when mom gets angry, it's River. She does the full name.
Were your parents hippies? Like, generally the name doesn't get changed 6 weeks in.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, just to throw you more for a loop, my brother is Sky. So my brother is Sky. My sister has a normal name. She's Lexi. But my brother is Sky, and my parents both have the same name, spelled the same. But both of their names are Tracy Cracraft. So Tracy and Tracy. And then my brother Sky and River. And then Lexi is the only normal name.
Two Tracys.
Two Tracys, spelled the same. Very difficult for banks, mail, all that stuff, phone calls growing up. Those are all difficult.
How annoying is the phrase "cry me a river" to you?
Oh, got it all the time. I was pretty emotional as a kid, too. I'd strike out in baseball, and the tears would come. And,
You cry a river?
I got that a lot. Too much.
Stugotz may offend you with this, but among his bodies of water, River does not fall in the top 5. He's got
crazy.
five,
That's
top
crazy.
5. He's got top 5
Are
here
there
for
others?
you.
5
Sounds like a
others?
him issue.
I have my top 5 list of bodies of water. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, let me hear it.
Number 5 is ocean.
Okay.
Number 4 is a lake.
Okay.
Number 3 is a canal.
Oh, come on, that's
canal.
insulting.
I love a good
above a
canal.
river,
Suez
it's
Canal.
Who likes a
I
canal?
love-
It's crazy.
Panama Canal.
The Panama Canal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Number 2 is a lazy river.
Oh,
But that's a
Different
river.
thing. No, totally different thing.
I'm with him
That's
on
a
this.
gray area.
Rivers
I mean,
are
that's a
weird. You
river.
find snakes, you find stuff in there. A lazy river, you don't find anything
You
but
love a lazy
relaxation.
river.
Yeah.
Rivers are more powerful, so
Yeah.
You love a lazy river?
you don't
though?
deserve it.
You don't like a lazy river?
Right.
He's
Of course, I
disagreeing
like a
with
lazy
you.
There you
river.
go.
Yeah,
So
of
Who
course.
does it?
Just
Right. Number 1 is a pool.
Fair.
Thank you.
Okay, I thought
Yeah.
number 1 was an ocean.
That was 5.
Well, that was-
Oh, that
he
was
goes
5.
backwards.
Five,
Stay
yeah,
with
5,
us,
4,
Rick.
3,
Canal
2,
being
1.
on
The
there.
list goes down.
I thought you
Canal's
said
a
1.
shocker,
That's my
yeah.
fault.
Canal
I'm
is
not
just-
locked
But
in.
Suez, I mean, come on. It's gorgeous. I mean,
Real expert on the Suez Canal over there. When all of these folks at camp are talking about this guy's faster than this guy and this guy's faster than this guy, who is the fastest person on this team?
I mean,
Oh.
it's got to be me, right? I mean, I'm going neck and neck with Reek. So.
Are you? It's like,
No.
Was it like Susan
That
River?
was my sarcasm. Yeah.
oh, damn it.
No, the fastest guy is Tyreek. I mean, I think he's the fastest guy in the league. I think he's the fastest dude I've ever seen in my life. So I don't think it's close.
Okay, but forgive me for this, but I thought that there was a white cornerback out here somewhere running around that people
Ethan Bonner.
are alleging that they're alleging he's that fast.
I asked Raheem this, Mostert, I don't know, maybe last year, and I was asking him, Tariq, Waddle, HN, who wins that race? And he said, no, there's another guy who's faster than all 3 of us. Is that the guy?
I think it might depend on the distance we're running. I think Tyreek's getting anybody in the 60. He's probably getting anybody in any race, but I think Ethan Bonner, he's got the stride, and I would love to see what he does in the 100 meter.
How about you, 5,000 meter? Let's do this.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna outlast now.
Endurance.
That's what I got. I bring that to the table. Pure grit.
What are you proudest of in your football career?
What am I proudest of? I think sticking with it. I've had a number of transactions. Somebody told me the other day is at 23 or 24 transactions in my career, and just not letting people say no, and believing in yourself and having dreams and sticking to it, sticking to the script. Like I told you guys when this started, I have my own dreams and aspirations, and I'm not going to let somebody tell me no and dictate my future. So that's what I'm most proud of.
I have to lie. I can't lie. I really want to know what your goals are. I've never been like.
You wanna
I've
know
never
your
been.
dream.
Usually
Right.
people are pretty open with this stuff, so it's not
He's
something.
hiding his
like,
dreams
you
from
hiding
us.
it from me makes me want it so much more. But it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna respect you. But
Yeah, now my parents don't
Seems like
even
you're
know, so
not.
don't feel
They don't
bad.
even know, okay.
No.
Keep
You
trying
don't
to get
think
it.
you can list all 23 of the transactions, could you? Do you think if I made you go through the resume of all of the people who've told you you're not good enough for what it is that you're dreaming about, do you think you could go through all 23?
I know the teams, but I don't know,
yeah.
because there were, for example, when I was with the Denver Broncos, I got released maybe 8 different times or 7 different times. So, I was released by the Broncos, the Eagles, the 49ers, and even the Dolphins at one point. So I've been released by every team I've been on at one point. But
When you get released, do you have to just do the thank you? I appreciate it. Like even though you want to tell them something else.
I think it depends on the situation. Luckily, my dad had kind of told me, never burn bridges, always be the bigger guy. And I've always had that going into those meetings. It's hard to get fired in a sense and to basically someone tell you you're no good or not good enough or whatever it is. But every time is different, especially in my experience as I've gotten older. I've been released for different reasons. Sometimes it's because I'm not doing well enough. Sometimes it's because they need another position here. Sometimes it's because we traded for somebody, whatever it is.
Sometimes
It's
they
always
lie.
different.
Yeah.
There could be that too. Yeah, I mean, I've been in weird situations, so I've dealt with a lot. But
You were with Mike McDaniel in San Francisco. You came over here. Like, how has he changed going from coordinator to head coach?
well, I think his role has changed, right? He's leading the entire team now, so he's always been amazing to us. He was very involved with the receivers over in San Francisco, so we did have a great relationship. But to see him go from a coordinator now to head coach and the responsibility that he's had to take on, it's been very unique to see in anybody's position to get that kind of raise and responsibility, I guess. But
Sure, yeah.
But it is cool to see, to see everything and how he's handled everything and what his approach was. Every coach is different. Everybody wants to approach it differently. So, it's been awesome. He's amazing. I love Mike. He's He's had my back, and he's let me compete, and that's all I can ask for as a player.
As an undrafted free agent, the day of the draft, what were you expecting?
So I had a little unique of a situation. I had blown my knee out late in my senior year of college. So unfortunately, I was being told that I might be a late round pick, even with a blown ACL. I don't think that was the best advice that I was given, but just so I could have expected, and who knows what would have happened if I wasn't hurt, But going undrafted was, I think it's hard, but it's not the end of the world. And had I had that perspective back then, I think I'd have been a little bit better off. But it was a difficult day.
Do you like being underestimated?
I do, yeah. There was a part of me for a long time that always wanted respect, always wanted people to give me my flowers that I felt like I deserved. And there came a point in my career where I started to use that, and not want that anymore. And as long as I had my family and my people with me, then that's all that really matters. But it took me a long time to get there. But I think probably my transition to Miami, the year I came to Miami, is when I was finally able to turn that around and look at things that way.
When he asks you about McDaniel, like we've seen in a way that's obvious and undeniable, the way that he has helped Tua by simply believing in him. Mm-hmm. You're clearly a McDaniel guy. He clearly trusts you to execute what it is that he needs executed within everything that he's doing. Has anyone given you that kind of belief before? Have you felt that kind of belief from someone in all of these ecosystems that you've existed in?
In my NFL career, Mike and Wes Welker are the only two, in my opinion, that have really, quote unquote, given me a chance. I've always been the guy that's known my responsibilities. I've always also been the guy where people think I have a lack of talent, maybe to come through with it. And Mike and Wes collectively are the first group of people who have looked at me and said, here's your opportunity. We're not going to do it for you. You know what to do. Let's see if you can execute it. And with me being able to back that up and come through, both parts matter. And I have nothing but respect for those two. And I thank them for giving me the op.
River, when the wide receivers go out for dinner, okay, who is the guy? Is it expected that Tyreek Hill is picking up the bill?
No.
It should be.
No, I mean he does it because he's a good guy,
right?
And Waddle does it too.
Do you do the thing where you're like,
no,
"Here, guys,
Waddle does
pay."
that. Waddle does that.
And then they're like, "No, get your card out of here." And you're like, "Okay, no problem. I was gonna pay, but the old deep."
Do you make the motion? Do you do that? Like I got
sometimes I might have to. Yeah,
I got this one, guys. Oh no, not me.
Financially, we were on very different levels.
Yeah.
No, but Tyreek and Jalen, they both step up to the plate a lot. It just speaks to their character.
Have you had any memorable trash talk from defenders in the league? Like, do you have any good stories of guys giving you some?
Of guys trash talking? Yeah. I really don't talk that much out there. And I kind of like when I'm out there because a lot of people look at me when they're on the field and they're just kind of like, all right, he's probably not getting the ball. So they don't really pay attention to me, which is great because then I get
wonder why that is.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I was saying, it is what it is. But I like it because, all right, you're going to try and take a play off because you look at me and don't think I'm a guy. Great. Now
but this wasn't always the case. Like, okay, we have fun with it, but at every level until when you were a superior athlete to most of the people you were playing against, correct? Like that. Yeah. At some point, you went from the higher you climbed. Where was the point where that changed for you? Because the confidence that you must have had as a young athlete, as when high school and whatnot, you were better than most people, were you not?
I would say so. Yeah, college to NFL. And I speak on this a lot. I think understanding your role and knowing where you fit in on each individual team is very important. And the quicker that you're able to realize that, the quicker the team will be able to move forward. And yes, like when I was in college, it was very different. When I was in high school, it was very different. I walked out of college with over 200 catches. There's not a lot of guys in their career who have done that. And I was very proud of that. But yeah, I was absolutely the guy. And you come to a place like Miami with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, you have to understand where you fit in, right? You're not going to get 70 targets a year, So, yeah, there's a little bit of pride swallowing there, and there's a little bit of, okay, if I want to get out on the field, this is how I'm going to do it, because I understand their talent level and I understand my talent level. And it's not that I'm less of anything to anybody else on the field and how I view myself. I just know my strengths, right? So I can recognize my strengths and say, this is what I can bring to the table. And maybe this guy's not going to do this, so let me do this part better.
We want to thank you for your time, but before you get out of here, have you ever been interviewed with your face as close to someone as it is to Chris Cote? It's a little uncomfortable.
It's an honor.
a little strange.
It's an honor.
It's an honor. It's an honor. One of our biggest fans here.
I'm sweating here talking to you.
Yes, you're very
nervous.
happy. Thank you. We've enjoyed watching you here with the Dolphins. Thank you for making the time for us.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate you bringing me on here.
Thank you, sir. He asked for you.
I did.
He requested for it. He requested
I
it.
appreciate that.
Yeah, the
When you get a
Tyreek Hill
chance-
wasn't
Well,
on the
actually, we
ask
got
list.
the Viore.
Exactly.
River, when you get a
guys-
chance, little vacation to the Suez Canal, I'm telling you.
This episode of the Dan LeBatard Show with Stugotz is presented by Smirnoff. We do game days. Please drink responsibly. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York.
I love Smirnoff and I love the Sueys. Let's do another category 3 for the day. Let's go. Best revelation.
And now, the Suey nominees for Best Revelation. Pablo Torre went to school with Vivek.
Are you a disappointment to everyone who went to Harvard? Are you?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a kid who's running for president who I went to school with, this guy Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, yeah.
He used to sit in justice. I took a justice class. It's moral reasoning, 22, I think. And it was a big lecture hall in like a Harry Potter sort of auditorium. And I only knew Vivek Ramaswamy, presidential candidate, I believe polling third, right behind Ron DeSantis, because he would raise his hand in lecture in the shape of a V.
Ew.
What?
I don't know.
Look, I've read a lot about this guy, and that by far is the most alarming.
Also,
which says a lot.
He went to our reunion. He went to our 15-year reunion, brought a black SUV that he just kept parked outside with the driver waiting in it, and would like bring the food out of the reunion and eat it in his SUV, and like have like private get-togethers in this car.
Paul Pierce claims Ray Allen was shopping for Miami homes while playing for Boston against the Heat.
And this is about Ray Allen. And I'm not even sure if this is true. In game 2 or game 5 in Miami, before the series was over, I heard Ray Allen was already looking for houses in Miami.
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure how true that is.
Oh, wow.
Ain't that crazy? While we're trying to beat them to go to the championship.
Peter King prefers unfrosted Pop-Tarts.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
We are good. How's the Pop-Tart?
Yeah, I'm having a Pop-Tart.
Love it. What flavor? What flavor are we talking here?
Strawberry unfrosted.
And you seem like a room temp guy.
You know what? Let's start him right there.
Okay.
This is let's do this right now. Let's do it right now.
Yeah, unfrosted.
Listen to me. Yes, listen. Peter King,
I do not like the frosted Pop-Tarts.
Peter-
It's just too
Blasphemous.
sweet.
What?
David Sampson's odd Pop-Tart habits.
I love the frosted cinnamon, the brown sugar Pop-Tarts. I love the strawberry Pop-Tarts. I love the low-fat Pop-Tarts. I don't toast them. I eat them raw, put them on top of dry cereal with peanuts and wasabi peas and some sort of spicy mix.
Wait a minute. What?
You're ruining Pop-Tarts.
What is that?
That is a very common meal for me.
Dominique Foxworth reveals that Ray Lewis would recycle speeches.
He recycled some speeches.
Wow. Really?
He'd been in the game for a long time, and he delivered a lot of impassioned speeches. And I hadn't been there long enough. But the guys who had been around for a while, they'd be calling out lines before he hit them. They call out the lines before they hit them.
Great.
Call out lines before he hit them.
Did anyone say, tell Ray, hey, you've done this before?
That's the best part. And that was one of the best things about Ray Lewis is he didn't act like that, like unapproachable. Yeah, people would roast him for the speeches, and he would laugh it off and keep it moving. And I never did, but other people would.
Roy Bellamy reveals the fake name he uses when checking into hotels.
His fake name when he checks into hotels is Jack Slade. Is that correct?
Jack Spade.
Jack Spade. I mean, you're not going to get him to say, I don't feel sexy.
Hold on a second. What? That's my fake name is Jack Spade.
Excuse me? Why?
I'm going to get you sucker, I believe is where I got that from.
Attaboy.
No, I get that part. The part that confuses
Why do you
me
need a fake?
is why are you checking in with a fake
After the
name?
game with Jake Spade is such a good show.
Jack, it's a fun.
I don't understand why you need a fake name.
It just sounds nice.
What are you worried about?
Change of pace. So when they ask for your ID,
I get what Roy's doing. Whether he feels like he needs it or not, it is kind of a move to say, can you put that under Jack Spade?
The show reveals their laziness when it comes to getting dressed.
Can I give you a suggestion where the pants have a belt in them that you never take off?
Get out of here.
You just keep the belt in there.
Wow.
That's the move I have. I have multiple belts. They're already in the jeans. So when I pull out the jeans, I put them on. They already have a belt.
Wow.
I'm not looping any belts anymore.
I'm really embarrassed to say this is killing me, but I wouldn't be an honest journalist if I didn't say I also do this.
Yeah.
Jess is about to be so disappointed. It's good to be back.
You just take your pants off and just leave them there with the belt on?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do too.
What if you have to
There it
wash
is.
them?
Wow.
There are dozens of us.
Amazing.
Me too.
What? I have separate belts for separate pants.
So you just drop trowel and that's it?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, this morning I forgot to put I put my sneakers on before I put my pants on.
Oh, wow.
and I was like, something feels off.
Chris Whittingham has no regrets about turning his back on the Panthers.
Look, I mean, I acknowledge you guys are Stanley Cup champions. What I just feel is nothing. I'm vacant, empty nothingness. I did the whole cycle of thought that I've done probably 8 times since I started, and I come back to the same conclusion every time. I do it again. As stupid as it is, as ridiculous as it is, I would not change a single bit of thought process.
Gaslighting
not
us,
one.
Woody.
Oh my God. I'm not gaslighting.
Yes,
This is genuine.
You're gaslighting
I
in a
would do it all
locker.
over again.
Mike, stuff him in a locker, Mike.
Come on.
Mike Ryan and Chris Cote revealed that their wives have nice feet.
Let me tell you something. Those in the audience, my wife's feet, very nice.
Oh, mine too.
Very nice.
Delightful.
You will diddle yourself to my wife's feet, no doubt.
What is the shame here? I don't understand. It's why I thought Foot Girls was such a funny thing. In fact, I was
not connect the two.
My wife and I have a thing where sometimes when she's sleeping, I'll pick up her foot and answer it like it's a phone. Hello? Boop, boop, boop. Hello?
It tickles. That's a great bit.
This is your wake-up call. It's cute.
Chris Cote pees in the dark.
I'm enjoying that your eyes are still closed as you deliver this
Just trying to
information.
show Max
No,
what I mean.
you're getting deep into character of how you do it in the dark. You don't want to open your eyes. You don't want to wake up too much.
I tend to aim right, so if I don't hear water, I go a little left. That's usually
Wait,
where
hold
water
on a
is.
second. But how many seconds have to go by before you get nervous? No water.
What do you mean? Wait, multiple
usually
seconds?
pretty
What are you
quickly
talking
hear whether
about?
it's-
Fractions of a second.
Doze off.
I'm so confused. So you're peeing in the dark, but you're also closing your eyes to add to the difficulty.
Well, no,
of
I'm
it?
closing my eyes here because it's light in here. Like in my bathroom.
To get
it's
into
dark.
character.
Oh, you're recreating. He's a method actor. You're
Yeah.
recreating it
Well,
in your head what it looks like.
Maybe my eyes are closed. Do we know if our eyes are open in a dark room?
Huh.
David Sampson has anti-theft shorts.
The issue is I have on shorts too. I wasn't knocking you for wearing shorts. It's the 90s ass shorts that you got on. Like they stopped making those shorts in the 90s.
Wait, what kind of shorts? They're brand new. It's all backwards. All the zippers are backwards.
These shorts have a panic room.
That's exactly right.
Have you ever been pickpocketed?
No, that's the whole, of course.
But do you go to places that would pickpocket you?
Any place.
I
Any place in Europe.
Really?
Have you ever been to Europe?
I agree that we're not there now.
Ever been to New Orleans? Ever been to the Elstra lobby?
David Sampson reveals he cries after sex.
Look at him. He's radiant. He's post-coital. Look at him. It's unbelievable. What are you doing?
Post-coital, I cry.
You're what?
And apologize.
Every time?
Sorry. So bad and short. I'm old.
Drew Bledsoe reveals who wrote his Giselle joke at the Tom Brady roast.
I'm going to get in really, really big trouble for this, but I'm willing to wear it. The Giselle joke, that actually came from my wife. Don't tell her I told you.
Wow.
But it was but the truth is it was a replacement for a joke that I had written that was far worse. And she said, no, you can't do that one. And so then she helped me write something that was a little more of a softball.
I want to hear that one so badly.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, no, we're not going there. She told me I couldn't say it. And then I really get in trouble if I actually told you the joke that she wouldn't let me say.
Greg Cote learned how to spell phonetically. I learned to spell by doing it phonetically. I learned to spell Europe by going EU ropey. I swear. That's why I became a good speller as a kid. I pronounced everything phonetically so it would learn me how to spell it. Did want to learn, did want to earn.
Isn't it EU rope? I mean,
it should have been EU rope, but I went EU ropey so that I knew it ended in an E.
Okay.
Yeah. Nick Wright will vanquish his rivals.
I have a rivals list. Everyone in the media that is within 2 years of me or younger than me, I must vanquish and I must be more successful than. I have to do it. They are all my rivals. And the reason I mention it is right now, rising to the top of the rivals list is Pablo Torre, and he will be vanquished. You know what's going to be the hardest one? Because sometimes your dear friends become rivals, and you don't want to have to do it. But I checked the old Wikipedia date of birth. Mina Kimes, younger than me, rival.
Wait a minute.
Listen.
Are you insane?
Mina,
Are you insane?
I love Mina. She's outstanding. She, I think, is going to be the final boss.
Oh my God.
Rival, but she's on the list.
Oh my God, Nick.
She's on the list.
Nick.
She has to be vanquished.
Nick, be careful, Nick.
Chris Cote and Greg Cote reveal Greg's old umpire routine. Hee-haw 3.
Sorry.
Hee-haw.
He's right.
Yeah. That's how my dad used to do strike 3 calls when I would pitch to him out in the front yard. Hee-haw 3.
Hee-haw 3. That's right. Those were the days. Only if it was a strike, though.
Right.
You don't abuse that call.
Mm-hmm.
Lulu's a good name for a donkey.
Chris Cote reveals his incorrect understanding of Cecil Fielder.
I have a shameful admission. I went most of my childhood being a very big baseball fan, thinking that Cecil Fielder was a position. When I was like 8, I thought it was like right behind the second base, like a floating outfielder. I swear to God, this is not a lie. This is not for comedy.
Not center fielder, but right in front of him was the Cecil Fielder.
Go out and play Cecil.
I was.
Where was the prince?
Lucy Rodine reveals that as a kid, she would give out her parents' private information.
I definitely gave out my mom's social security number when I was a kid, and we're just talking about this, and it made me. I entered my family in for so many free cruises, and I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get it. They're gonna show up with a big check." I'd ask my mom for her information, she'd give it to me, and I'd be like, "When this flat screen TV shows up, everybody's gonna love me." So it was her fault. She should not have trusted a 10-year-old with that information.
Why would an adult give a 10-year-old their social?
Yeah. That's a really great question. I gave out so much of my mom's personal information. Crazy.
There's nothing better. I run into this a lot when I re-listen to old Cinephobe episodes, and we're talking about something, and then someone says something, and I'm like, I make the joke out loud to myself as I'm listening, and then I hear myself make the same joke. It makes me feel so proud.
You were in a lot of those.
I was.
I feel like
in
in
the
all
background.
these, you've been in a lot of the Sueys.
I've been working a lot lately.
Hee-Haw 3 and Cecil Fielder. Ooh.
Cecil Fielder.
Those are both good ones. I
But
mean, I have the opposite reaction of you, where sometimes I hear these back and I have a different take.
Oh, really?
Like the belt thing, I was like, yeah, I've done that before. But on that day, I was like, what? You keep your belts in your loops, you heathens.
But I feel like that's sometimes you're just going with what's happening, right? Whereas when I'm not part of the conversation, I'm making an observation in my brain, and then I make the same observation out loud. There's something comforting knowing that I'm consistent, man.
It's like you're watching yourself in Interstellar. You're like, say it. Come on, say it. Say it. And then you say it, and you're like, yeah!
You know what's wild? It's like, think about this. People always ask, if you had a memory wipe, would you still fall in love with the same people? Would you still kind of live your life the same way? If you didn't know that this is a mistake, would you still make the same mistake? And I can comfortably say, yeah, absolutely. I would do everything the same way without the knowledge or the foresight. It's comforting. Hey, Jeremy, what's coming up next?
Hey, we have the pitch clock. Remember baseball? That's
Yes.
still happening.
I love
Tim
baseball.
Kurkjian? Yeah, we got Tim Kurkjian on
Really?
today's episode of the pitch
We'll
clock.
finally find out where Cecil is.
Where the Cecil Fielder
Cecil
plays.
Fielder.
Yeah, we'll find out together.
Did you guys ask him about Aaron Judge being more popular than what's the guy for the
50?
We asked him about Aaron
Jeff
Judge.
Dalton or whatever?
We did ask him about Aaron Judge.
Jeff Driscoll.
So you'll hear about that.
Robbie Cracraft. That's who I was thinking about.
Robert
Cracraft.
Cracraft. Great interview with Bob. That interview was great, by the way.
It was.
But yeah, you got all sorts of baseball coming up. This one should be fun. We've got a Jersey-based trivia game and Tim Kurkjian, so listen up.
I'm going to go see Genesis.
Me first.
Welcome to the Pitch Clock. Here's the pitch, a two-part baseball segment
combining a nostalgic baseball trivia game and an interview with an expert.
This is the Pitch Clock. Back with another episode of the Pitch Clock, and we're kicking things off with a guest in this game, Jake Storiale from Jomboy Media, back for another week here on the Pitch Clock, and this time it's to be a gamer. So Taylor, our producer, our esteemed producer, wearing his Yankee hat. I feel like there's some bias in this trivia game. It doesn't really feel very fair, but Taylor, why don't you let us know how this one's going to go down?
Yeah, I'm not playing favorites, but I am a huge fan of JM Baseball, and it's why I've tried to do more fun trivia here. I'm ref guessing, I'm doing the drafts, I'm doing this category, so everybody kind of has to go check those out. But the game today is 3 strikes, where you'll alternate guesses, Jake and Jeremy. 3 strikes and you're out. The last man standing wins.
Great.
The list you see is labeled 1 through 20 with team logos, and it's the best-selling jerseys from the 2010 season.
Oh my God.
And you don't need to give me the exact spot on the list. You just have to name the player, and
from
it's
the
a forgiving guess.
2010 season. Okay, so why don't you go ahead first here, Jake? Why don't you take the first swing at it?
I'll play to the hat, and it's number 1. And I'm not great with years, but this is still Jeter time that I got to guess Derek Jeter.
Number 1?
Derek Jeter is number 1.
Derek Jeter, number 1. Of course. I'm going to go ahead and write that one down. Number 13, the Washington Nationals, Steven Strasburg.
That's a crazy first guess, but that is right.
All right. All right, Steven Strasburg. So through one round, we've got the number 1 in Derek Jeter off the board. We've got the number 13 in Steven Strasburg off the board. Jake, your next selection.
Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins, that's a strike.
Ooh, no, Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah,
wow.
4 Philly logos on the board, but that is not
How is that possible? We're very excited for our guest here on the Pitch Clock. Chris Cote has stuck around from the shipping container with me because of how excited we are to welcome in TIM KURKJAN. You know him from ESPN. You know his new podcast with his son Jeff. Is this a great game or what?
What a good pod that is.
It's amazing. So and TIM KURKJAN, thank you so much for blessing us with the seal of approval here on the Pitch Clock, coming in and giving us the credibility of being the voice in Major League Baseball that we get to talk to. Couldn't be more excited, and we want to start with one of the most exciting players in Major League Baseball. That's Aaron Judge. Over the weekend, he became the 5th player ever to hit 50 homers in 3 different seasons. He's just the 2nd to do it, not linked to performance-enhancing drugs. The other names, Babe Ruth, Sammy Sosa, A-Rod, and Mark McGwire. Tim, is there a way to properly put into perspective the greatness of Aaron Judge right now?
It's pretty hard because he has been exceptional. And what has really impressed me is how he's become an all-around hitter. You know, he used to be, just a big, strong guy who hit a lot of homers, struck out 1,000,000 times, hit for a relatively low average. Now he's hitting 330, more than that. And he's slugging over 700. And he plays center field, and he can run, and he's an athlete. So, Barry Bonds had these seasons. There's no way around that. Offensively, Barry Bonds did this and more. But when it comes to playing every day in a premium defensive position and doing what he's doing right now is absolutely amazing. And every time I watch him play, I expect something incredible to happen. And you listed the guys with 350 homer seasons. And I mean, when it starts with Babe Ruth, that's a pretty good place to start and to end.
It's an incredible place to start. And when you look across at the National League, you have another record breaker over there in Shohei Ohtani, one of the guys now in the 40-40 club. He becomes the 6th player ever to reach the 40-40 milestone. And, with him, that's not as a pitcher this season. He did it faster than anyone in the history of the league. Tim, what do you think the odds are that Shohei Ohtani becomes the first 50-50 player in Major League history? And just how ridiculous is it that Shohei Ohtani is doing this in the season where he's recovering from Tommy John surgery?
Right. Well, I think he's going to go 50-50. And then we have to remember that he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And he's going to go 50-50. He can throw 100 miles an hour, and he's going to go 50-50. That's all you need to know about him. And, this is so classic. He gets to 40-40 with a walk-off grand slam.
Right.
It's the first walk-off home run of his career. And of course, he waits to do it to become, the first guy to get to 40-40 in 126 games, which is just remarkable in itself. And I told Chris a few times, the first time I saw Ohtani play in that first spring, the first thing that struck me was how fast he was.
Yeah,
he ran out of triple in the game that I went to, and I went, I had no idea he could run like this. I mean, we heard he could run, but not like that. So you add in the incredible pitching, the incredible hitting, and now that kind of speed. Again, he is the most remarkable player. I think I know he's the most remarkable player I've ever seen. I don't think he's the best player because Babe Ruth still has as many career shutouts as Pedro Martinez.
Jeez.
But it's amazing what he's doing. And you're right, to make a huge adjustment, just being an everyday DH, people think, oh, that makes it easier. Not always. Sometimes it's harder when you're just a DH. And look at the season he's having.
Okay, so I'm going to take a Philly then, just to kind of start narrowing things down. Chase Utley.
Chase Utley is number 4.
Chase Utley is at number 4 on this list. So through 2 rounds, we have Jake with Derek Jeter and a strike, and then I've knocked off Chase Utley and Steven Strasburg.
Man, the Rollins landmine gets me.
I can't believe that. There's 4 Phillies, and he's not one of them.
Okay, now, I mean, this is such bad strategy, but it's digging at me that I have to go Ryan Howard.
Ryan Howard just makes the list at 18.
Wow, who are these other ones?
I'm never guessing another Philly.
All right, hold on a second. So I'm trying to think. So this is right around the time they're going to the World Series all the time. So Roy Halladay.
Roy Halladay's number 3.
Yeah, Roy Halladay. All right, Doc. Jake has 1 strike. Jake, you are up now in round 4.
There's 2 Twins options. I mean, one of them has to click. Let me guess, Joe Mauer.
The Twins are going to come off the board here. I can feel it. Joe Mauer is number 2.
Joe Mauer is number 2.
Oh,
all right. So there's another one. You know what? I'm gonna just for the risk of it, I'm gonna pencil myself in here. Number 5, the last Philly, Cliff Lee.
It's Cliff Lee.
Yes, Cliff Lee. Let's go. All right. So Cliff Lee and who was it? Joe Mauer come off the board. So we now have the top 5. The top 5 jersey sellers in 2010 were Derek Jeter, Joe Mauer, Roy Halladay, Chase Utley, and Cliff Lee. Jake, you are up.
I see a Cardinal there. I copied this guy's swing growing up. It did not work for me. Actually, 09. Albert Pujols?
Has to be.
It is Albert.
It's Albert Pujols.
Okay.
All right. It had to be. There's 2 other Yankees on here, which makes me feel actually kind of confident. Alex Rodriguez.
A-Rod is number 9.
A-Rod is number 9.
Had to be.
Yeah, he had to be on that list. So thus far off the board, Jeter, Mauer, Halladay, Utley, Lee, Pujols, A-Rod, Ryan Howard, and Steven Strasburg. 1 strike to Jake, and that means we are on round 5 here on the pitch clock in this game. You say it could be harder as now a DH as opposed to someone that gets out there every 5th day. Do you think he would have done this offensively had he been a pitcher this year for the Dodgers?
Well, I've learned one thing from him. Never, ever, ever underestimate what he might do, because just when you think you've seen him do something that you'll never see again, you just slap your forehead because here he goes and does something else. Whether it was 40-40 and 126 or $700 million or ridiculous home runs at ridiculous times, home run derbies, everything else. So nothing would surprise me. But yes, I think he could be I think he had a chance to be a 50-50 guy while pitching this year. But the fact that he's not pitching, I think allows him to run the bases a little bit more aggressively. So maybe it would have been a whole lot harder if he was pitching.
He just would have hit 70 homers and stole 30 bases instead. It would have just been fine that way. With these 2 players, you have Aaron Judge, you have Shohei Ohtani, seemingly runaways in their MVP races. But the question I have is, when is the last time, Tim, in Major League Baseball that we've seen not 1, but 2 individual seasons like this in one MLB season? So having, someone doing what Judge is doing in this home run race and then someone doing what Ohtani is doing.
Well, I think it's been a really long time since we've seen two players of this magnitude, of this stature, with this kind of, I'm not sure pressure is the word that we need to put on them, but everyone was expecting them to do something like this. And then not only have they done it, they've exceeded expectations. I think a lot of people thought entering the season, Judge and Ohtani would be the two MVPs, and now it looks like they're going to be. So I would have to go through my mind on years in which guys won the MVP in each league and each had stunningly great seasons. I'm sure there are a bunch of those, but to do it like if we have a 50-50 guy and a 63 homer guy, and both guys lead their teams to the playoffs, that's a pretty good combination.
Jake, why don't you go ahead with your next pick?
Okay, it's starting to get nervous for me, and I still have a strike. How about, I see a San Francisco Giant on here. How about Buster Posey?
Buster Posey is 19.
Buster Posey is 19.
He
Wow.
sneaks onto the list.
Which makes me honestly want to go with the other Giant. I believe that Giant is Tim Lincecum.
It's the freak.
Big time Timmy Jim. Tim Lincecum. There he is.
Hey, I need to believe in the starting pitchers more. Apparently, maybe
Hey,
MLB
they were
has it right
stars.
with this 6-inning
They
rule.
were
Yeah.
stars back in the day,
Yeah.
and half these guys burned out, but that's all right. That's all right. All right, so both Giants go off the board. That's Tim Lincecum and Buster Posey. Round 6, Jake has 1 strike. I have no strikes thus far. I'm worried we're going to run out of spaces on this paper, Taylor, and you might need to start going to the next group. But Jake, who you got next?
I mean, one of these Texas Rangers has to be Josh Hamilton.
Are you locking that in?
I'm locked in.
Number 7 is Josh.
Ooh,
Okay.
Josh Hamilton.
Run Derby, yeah.
Okay, there's Josh Hamilton. I'm going with a Boston Red Sox, and I'm going to say one of those is David Ortiz.
That's a strike.
Really?
No David Ortiz on this list.
No, David Ortiz. I had another Red Sox I was going to guess, and I didn't go with him. Oh, no. All right, so each of us now has a strike. This thing just got evened up. That's really interesting. All right, Jake, what is your next pick?
I feel like I've got momentum on my side. I need to pull the rope where it is. Dustin Pedroia?
That's who I was going to guess.
Pedroia is number 8.
Oh, boy. Okay. I'm going to guess the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun.
It is Ryan Braun.
Ryan Braun, the Hebrew Hammer. All right.
Yes.
We're entering round 8, I believe, with 14 names off the board and a strike each. We only have 6 jerseys remaining.
I'm starting to worry that this might come down to sudden death.
Tim, when I see the story of Danny Jensen playing for the same team, playing for 2 different teams in the same game, you are the word association just with this. You love a good nugget like this. So I'm just wondering, put your historian hat on. What other stories in MLB history did this remind you of? This guy playing for two teams in one game.
August 4th, 1982.
Love it.
Joel Youngblood got a hit for 2 different teams in 2 different cities on the same day.
Wow. No way.
He got a hit for the Mets against the Cubs against future Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins at 2:30 in the afternoon. So the game's still going on. He's told you've just been traded to the Expos and they want you in Philadelphia tonight. So he ran, changed his clothes, took a cab, barely made a 6 o'clock flight, and got to Philadelphia to the airport at 9 p.m. He took his 3rd cab ride of the day, was at the ballpark for less than 10 minutes in uniform, and Jim Fanning said, okay, you're up now.
So good.
So he goes up and he gets a hit against Steve Carlton.
Oh, my God.
Future Hall of Famer. So he got 2 hits in the same day for 2 different teams in 2 different cities. So I called Joel Youngblood the other day about this.
Of course you did.
This is all on this is on our podcast for tomorrow.
Yes.
And he said, look, I know what Danny Jensen's doing. He's trying to break my record. He's laughing while he's talking. And he goes, but he's not breaking my record because I got 2 hits in 2 cities in the same day.
That is awesome.
He said, no one can match that. And he said, if I'd known how important it was, I would have kept the ball from each hit because each one was historic.
And by the way, for the audience wondering, a historian hat is a combination between a hat and a cap.
Yeah, well done.
So when I tell him to put on his historian hat, that's a combination between a hat and a cap.
A kick save and a beauty.
Thank you.
Tim, what is your maybe favorite story in Major League Baseball right now that you think maybe we're not talking about? It's sort of going on under the surface and isn't quite as flashy as the Judge or Ohtani or, hey, this team's been unbelievable type of story.
Well, I'm not sure anything is unbelievable, and maybe this is obvious, but fellas, I'm not sure I've ever seen a season where we've gotten to August the 25th, whatever we are, and we don't even know what teams are really, really good, what teams are great. The parity, whatever you want to call it, every really good team out there has had a terrible stretch this year. I don't believe anyone's won 80 games yet. So we had a team get to 100 losses before anyone got to 80 wins. Wow. That's pretty hard to do. So just when you think the Phillies were going to run away with the National League, then they had a terrible month. The Yankees had a terrible month. The Orioles have stumbled. The Dodgers have stumbled. A bunch of teams like the Astros got off to a terrible start. Padres, Diamondbacks, and they got red hot. I'm just not sure in all the years I've covered that we've gotten to this point of the season, and people ask you, as they ask me all the time, who's going to win the World Series? As if I know or something, when right now we have no idea because there are so many teams that are good and maybe no teams that are great.
So, Jake, where are we at?
Well, I think I'm going hunting for that Ray because I think the rest have some landmines tied to them. I believe this is our guy, Evan Longoria.
It's Longo.
Great pick. Great pick. That was well done because I'm not sure I would have gone Longoria or not. I'm trying to think of who those other Rays would have been. I might set myself up for failure.
8 seconds.
2010 Minnesota Twins, Johan Santana.
It's not.
It's not, which means you're going to get it. Damn, that was such a mistake. All right, so 2 strikes for me. We're headed to round 9, I believe. Oh, boy, 2 strikes for me, and now I know Jake's just chomping at the bit waiting to get the next name off. Jake?
I'm playing dirty, but yeah, that was a potential landmine that I believe this has to be Minnesota Twins MVP Justin Morneau.
Yep.
It's Justin
God,
Morneau.
I'm so angry with myself.
Oh, I should have gone Morneau.
Oh, boy. Okay.
10 seconds.
Oh, boy. Oh, I don't know which team to name here. Braves.
5.
Red Sox. Jacoby Ellsbury.
It is Jacoby Ellsbury. He keeps it alive.
I literally, I want you to know, I wasn't sure if Ellsbury was still with the Red Sox at that point, and I almost just said his name with the Yankees because I figured whenever he made that switch, he was a high-selling jersey. Oh, boy. All right. Kept myself alive on that one. So we both still have 1 strike, or
you have 2?
I have 2 strikes. So I kept it alive, and we have three names left on this list. Wow. Jake, amongst the Yankees, the Braves, and the Rangers, who is your guess?
Man, this is getting ugly. Man, this guy. No, I'm scared of it. I will go Yankees, and I will go CC Sabathia.
That's a second strike.
Oh, it's a strike.
Oh, God.
Wow. 2010. Who was still around at that time? Like, this is that weird era where several players retire. I need it. I guess you're right. I do need it to stay alive. But the Yankees, it doesn't make me feel better. I have a kind of crazy guess, and I don't know if it's going to be right or not.
5 seconds.
Atlanta Braves, Chipper Jones.
It's not.
He's gone. He's gone. That's strike 3.
Yep.
All right. So Jake wins this one. I'm devastated. Taylor, why don't you let us know the final 3 names on this list?
Number 11 Yankees, Mark Teixeira.
Ooh, Teixeira.
I wasn't going there. I was going Cano or like Rivera.
Yeah.
Number 12 Braves, Jason Hayward.
Oh my, Jason Hayward.
And
Never would have guessed that.
17th from the Rangers, Ian Kinsler.
Oh, man. How about this? 2 Jews in the top 20 of jersey sales in Major League Baseball. I bet that's the only time in Major League history that's happened. That's a good one for us, huh? Score 1 for the tribe. Jake, thanks so much for playing this game with us today, man.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
My life as I know it is about to drastically change forever. And the reason I say that, as many of you know, I'm going to be a father coming up in December to a baby girl, and it's crazy, and I can't believe it. And a lot of my life is going to change, but there's one thing in my life that's going to be constant. And since 1975, this original light beer has been a constant, a mainstay for the entire planet. And it's going to continue to be a mainstay for me. It's Miller Lite. They keep it simple, undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. It's a light beer that actually tastes like beer. You don't have to choose what's best. Miller Lite has great taste and is less filling, and it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. I will when my daughter's born with a tall, cold glass of Miller Lite. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Fewer calories and carbs than premium regular beer.
All right, I'm going to count in from 50. 50. 49. 48. 47.
I dare you.
46,
I dare you to go the full 50.
45, 44, 43, 42, 41.
We're already on.
40.
This is already live.
39.
You don't
38,
have to go. Okay, turn off your mic while you do it. Keep doing it, but turn off your mic.
I love Chris's commitment to a bit.
Yeah, me too. You know what else I love? Against the spread.
Why isn't it working?
Is the computer buffering?
That's the one bit Chris won't commit to.
That's right, guys. It's time for Against the Spread. And it's brought to you by our friends at DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear more about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. All right, let's fade that bed down a little bit. Jeremy, what do we got here?
Well, college football's kicked off this week, and as you can see, I'm wearing my UCF Citronaut shirt. Throwback, go Knights, charge on. UCF hosting New Hampshire. I'm taking UCF minus 41.5 against the spread. KJ Jefferson to the boys.
When I used to live in Connecticut, I would live right next to Central Connecticut State University, CCSU. I think Danielle Marshall was the coach there for a while. I think he might be still there.
Donnie or Danielle?
Danielle. And they're playing Central Michigan. Central Michigan's the Chippewas, minus 32.5 against the, I think it's Central Connecticut Blue Devils, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they are the Blue Devils.
Yeah, here we go. All right, we're taking the Chippewas, minus 32.5 against the spread.
That'll do it for Against
the Spread.
Let's fade this thing out.
Wow.
Well done, Chris.
You wouldn't even know that the sound didn't work.
It didn't?
Billy.
Hey.
Submarines. That was where we left off before we had to go talk to David Sampson and do the rest of the show. Submarines
and Bob
attacked
Rivercraft.
the
Rivercraft.
The Bobby Raycraft. The yacht, the billionaire's yacht that was hit by a
theory
waterspout.
that's floating out there is that maybe submarines were involved.
Like the torpedo did?
But then we find the torpedo holes.
That's, it seems like it's an impossibility for a submarine to just go and, I guess, shoot a torpedo at a...
Well, there would be evidence.
One would think.
The boat is, I think, like 150 feet under
They found the
sea
wreckage?
level? Oh, yeah. It's intact on the bottom of the sea floor.
But they found the bodies.
Yes.
The bodies were in the wreckage or floating?
Yes. I mean, it is harrowing hearing the stories of the divers that have to go down into the yacht like 10 minutes at a time and look for the people inside of it. I mean, it's terrible.
That's got to be no one sets out to have that job, right? Like, you made some wrong turns in life, and now this is the job that's available to you.
Or you're a hero.
To find dead bodies? You're not a hero. You didn't save anybody.
Someone has to do it, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It feels like something like, it's like The Wall, right, in Game of Thrones. No one volunteers to do this shit. Like, you messed up in life. Like, we can either kill you or you can go diving for dead bodies. And I'm like, I want to live, so
I guess I'll do that.
That's what I do now. And it's like along the way, maybe you take pictures of fish that you see and stuff, and maybe that's your side hustle. You got an Instagram account with like fish under the water, and then
you remember the cameras that you could take under the water in the early 2000s.
You can still buy those at like CVS.
Yeah, when they came out with that, they were like, "Yo, we did this shit for real. Everybody was like,
But then you would like do it with your friends, and every picture your eyes would be closed, and you'd be like holding your breath or like plugging your nose, and they were just like the worst pictures.
My
for
cousin
me.
bought this thing that's like a clear plastic sleeve that you wear around your neck and you put your phone in.
oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I've seen people have that in Hawaii, but he does it like anytime he goes into a pool. And I said, that feels like overkill.
You could put the phone down for 30 minutes.
Yeah,
while
like
you're in
just
the
leave it
pool.
on the side.
He sounds like a real A-hat.